The weirdest part? I never planned to play it. I don't even remember grabbing the headphones. But 1 second, I'm staring at this old tape, and the next, I'm listening to myself say something I haven't said yet. Night signal. I worked the overnight shift at my college radio station during my senior year. It was the kind of job you get because no one else wants it. It's a shift done by computer at most radio stations, but in school you do it to learn. It was midnight to 5 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays. I was alone in a building that already felt like a relic. At least they gave me a cool DJ name, Echo. Or at least I told myself it was cool. The gear was old, temperamental. Stuff broke constantly. You learned how to fix it, or you didn't get to go on air. The really old tech got taken down to the basement. We called it the equipment graveyard. I'd never actually been down there. Too terrifying. To be honest, most shifts were boring, lonely, sometimes peaceful, but not that weekend. It all started with a call. Line 1 blinked during a vinyl set. I answered, expecting a prank or dead air. Instead, I heard a voice. It was my own. Older. Panicked. I need you to listen. I don't... It cut off abruptly, then static. Just static. I sat there frozen, my ears ringing. The line had gone dead. The call never showed up in the logs. I told myself it was a glitch, a crossed wire, something, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. The next day, when I opened the booth for my Saturday shift, something was already sitting on the console. A cassette tape, plain gray, no label, except for 2 words scratched into the plastic with what looked like a paperclip. Echo, and beneath it, Play Me Now. I swear I laughed at first, like someone was pulling a retro prank. But when I looked down at my bag, I remembered the Walkman. I'd ordered it online the week before. It was going to be a birthday gift for my friend Lex. She's a big 90s nostalgia geek. The thing had arrived early, and I just picked it up from the front desk of my dorm on the way to the station. It was old, plastic, and too large to fit in a pocket. A relic of a time before you could carry all the music of the world on your phone. I popped in the tape, slipped on the headphones. Then I hit play. Click, hiss, and then my voice. Older again, shaky. I need you to listen. I don't have much time. Whatever you... Click. End of tape. My heart was thudding so hard I could barely breathe. For the next hour, I tried to forget it. Eventually, I needed a bathroom break. When I returned to the booth, I stopped in my tracks. There was an old audio cart lying on the board, an ancient form of tape used by radio stations before quick and reliable digital recording was invented. Of course, it had the same label on it as the others. Echo, Play Me Now. The only cart decks I'd seen in years were in the abandoned production studio 2 doors down. Everyone joked it was haunted by the ghost of the 90s. Nobody used it anymore. It was mostly just 2 busted turntables and a microphone. But I went. The door creaked open like a horror movie setup. Dust everywhere. Old posters curling off the walls. Cables coiled like snakes across the floor. I found a functioning cart deck in the wall. I slid the cart in. I pushed the fat red play button. Whirr, clunk, then static. And again, my voice. I need you to listen. I don't have much time. Whatever you do, do not... The last sentence made my stomach twist, but I didn't want to know what it meant. I spent the rest of the weekend checking the station's public logs, our archives, old engineer notes, any excuse not to think about the messages. But when I showed up for my shift the following Friday, it was waiting for me. A reel-to-reel tape sitting on my console, black plastic, label written in red Sharpie. Echo, final log. I stared at it for a long time. Then I grabbed it and ran. I didn't even stop to think, just moved. I had to get the reel-to-reel machine. The hallway stretched forever. I didn't even realize where I was going until I hit the bottom step. The air was colder, damp, the smell of metal, paper, and something old. I looked around. I was in the basement. How did I get here? It was dark, really dark. A single ancient light bulb hung from its wire. Strange shadows seemed to move around the room. In front of me was the reel-to-reel machine. Massive, beige, 1 VU meter cracked. Power cable still plugged into the wall like it had been waiting for years. I fed the reel onto the spindle, threaded the tape through the head, pulled it tight across the guides. I hit play. Then, nothing. The meters didn't move. No audio. But then suddenly, the ancient machine whirred to life. The reel spun. It played my voice. Still panicked. I need you to listen. I don't have much time. Whatever you do, do not go into the basement. The lights went out, leaving me and the analog hum alone together in the darkness. An overwhelming dread surrounded me as my vision went black. I don't remember how I got out of that basement. Sometimes I wonder if I really did. Dead air. I worked the overnight shift at one of the last live rock stations still running 24-hour DJs. These days, most places let the computers run the graveyard shift, but not this one. The station's a time capsule, equal parts broadcast museum and forgotten warehouse. Brick walls, old vinyl scattered in crates, massive analog boards that hum louder than the music sometimes. The hallway still smells like dust, bleach, and decades of spilled coffee. It's the kind of job you only get fresh out of college when you're still chasing a dream no one else believes in, or maybe just avoiding the real world. Most nights, it's just me in the building. No guests, no janitors, just the glow of studio monitors and that quiet pressure of knowing you're on the air, even if no one's listening. I liked it at first, but some nights it didn't like me back. This one started strange. I showed up a little before midnight. Normal walk-in. Everything felt off. Too quiet, even for that place. I stepped into the control room and saw the on-air light already glowing. It's supposed to stay off until I go live, but there it was, red and steady. I stared at it for a second. My stomach tightened. That creeping animal feeling like you just stepped into a room where something bad had already happened. I told myself it was nothing, set down my gear, tried to settle in. Then I noticed the mug, sitting on the edge of the production desk, perfectly placed, like someone had just stepped away from it. Steam was rising off the top. I picked it up and yelped, nearly dropped it. It burned my finger. Not lukewarm, hot, fresh. It wasn't my mug. Black ceramic, heavy, white block lettering that read, Nirvana, Nevermind Tour, 93. That was the first moment I felt truly uneasy. I double-checked the break room. The coffee pot was cold, bone dry. No recent activity, just dust and an empty sugar bowl. I sat down at the console and told myself to relax. Then I heard footsteps, slow, measured, crossing the hallway just outside the booth. I froze. The walls are thin in there. You can hear everything, and these were unmistakable. Not the building creaking, not plumbing, shoes on tile. I opened the door fast. Nothing. The hallway motion sensor didn't even trigger. You ever feel so alone it makes your skin crawl? I texted Casey, our morning show guy, told him something weird was going on. He replied, "Nobody's scheduled but you, man." I didn't tell him about the mug yet. A little later, I walked past the vending machine and saw a sandwich sitting on the counter, still wrapped, still warm. Wax paper, no label, one bite missing. There was a weird smell, like mustard, and something sharp, like old cologne. I leaned in for a second and I swear I heard whispering, like a conversation caught in a radio bleed. I spun around. Empty hallway again. My nerves were shot. At 3 a.m., I stepped outside for air. The night was dead quiet, but the moment I opened the back door, I saw it. A lit cigarette, just sitting on the wall-mounted ashtray. Faint red tip, little curl of smoke, still burning. I hadn't seen another soul all night. I leaned closer and spotted the brand. LA Lights. I didn't even recognize it. Had to look it up later. Discontinued in the 90s. That's when I really started to lose it. I backed into the studio fast and slammed the door, and that's when I saw the headphones. Not mine. Thick black foam, old school AKG style, with the coiled cord and the kind of plug we haven't used since before I was born, sitting on the console like someone had just finished their set. I touched them. They were warm. Not warm from the room, warm like skin, like they'd been worn recently. I backed into the corner of the booth and just stood there, staring at the empty chair. I texted Casey again. This time I sent a photo of the cigarette. He replied, "Bro, you know that place runs on playlists and ghosts. You probably nodded off." I laughed out loud, but it sounded weird in the silence. Thin, fake. Around 4:15, I gathered everything I'd found. The Nirvana mug, the sandwich, the LA Lights cigarette, those old headphones. I set them on the counter in the break room and took a photo. I needed proof I wasn't losing it. Then I walked 2 doors down to refill my water bottle. I was gone less than a minute. When I came back, gone. Every item. No sound, no sign, no explanation. I just stood there breathing hard, staring at the empty counter. Casey showed up 20 minutes later, tossed me a "what's up," and opened a Red Bull like nothing had happened. When I told him the story, he waved it off. "You dreamed it, man. Those chairs are dangerous. Trust me." I nodded, didn't argue. But when I walked out to my car and started the engine, I winced. I looked at my hand. The skin of my finger was red, slightly blistered, a perfect half-moon shape from a hot ceramic handle. As I pulled away from the station, I saw my friend standing outside texting on his phone before his shift. But through the studio window, I could see the on-air light was already lit. For a second, I thought I saw a dark shape sitting in the DJ chair. I don't think I was the only one who worked that overnight shift.